Welcome to the Hamsi Analytics Daily Market Commentary. I'm Pablo Navarro. Today is Thursday, August 30, 2012. For the market internals, the New York Stock Exchange advanced decline differential closed at negative 1,274. NASDAQ advanced decline differential closed at negative 1,213. There were 9 new 52-week highs for the S&P 500 and 4 new 52-week lows for the S&P 500. Very low readings here on the NYSE advanced decline and NASDAQ advanced decline differentials. For the volatility, we had 300,000 contracts traded on the VIX today, with 40 million in total premiums paid. For the dollar-weighted put-call ratio in September, we saw a 0.3 reading, which is bearish, with 45% of the total premiums paid. In October, a 20.23 reading with 23% of the total premiums paid. Again, a bearish reading here. Okay, here we have SBUX chart. Very interesting pattern here. Today we were down 11 handles. Very bad day for the market today. Before Bernanke speaks tomorrow on Jackson Hole. The important things to notice here. We broke 0.6 and closed below it. That was our first support that we were going to have. Well, it didn't act as the support today. We just went through it. Our second thing to notice here is look how compressed volatility has come here. We are almost flat on volatility, very compressed. You could see here sigma channels with just diving here, and this is potentially setting up for a breakout or breakdown in the market. We had been talking about this warning sign that CI gave us. Very clear warning sign here at the highs of the year. It just started to drift lower, and we continue to see the slope of the CI is negative. You can see here in CI diff. Now we had a big down bar on CI diff. Looks like the next potential move could be to the downside. If this is the case, we would be looking here at negative 3 sigma. Maybe we can even get it tomorrow on a bad news from Bernanke. And the low would be the negative 3 sigma is 1385. That's gonna be 14 handles from here to the downside. That's gonna be the level we've been watching to. But let's go to a 60-minute chart to see what happened on the weekly support, pivot, and resistance. You could see here we gapped down on the open, and pretty fast we went here and touched our target. We touched this target on SPY, the support number 1, and it actually held to the tick. It was very nice here, the support, and after that we just kind of bounced somewhat off the lows, and in the last hour you could see we dropped again. From this pattern we could see we're maybe getting some type of a flag here, pretty small bear flag we could call it, and we're gonna look at it on another time frame. But again, we'll get here the levels. We're looking for 1391. That's gonna be our support, and if we do break that to the downside, we would be looking for 1383, pretty close to the 1385 we just talked about on the daily chart. So that's gonna be a critical level to watch here on the 60-minute chart. That's gonna be weekly support number 2, 1383, 1385. Those are gonna be the important targets here for tomorrow's speech with Ben Bernanke. If we do get something good out of him tomorrow, maybe we can get a pop to the pivot of 1411, 1412. It's gonna be pretty tight, pretty hard, almost no possibilities of getting to resistance number 1 of 1425, but we never know. So our targets on the upside, we're looking for 1412, and on the downside 1385 and 1383. Those are gonna be the levels to watch here tomorrow. Probably are gonna be a big volatile day tomorrow intraday. We're gonna see what happens after that. Let's go for SPY. Here we have the 60-minute chart for SPY, and again we touched our downside target here. Target met. If we're able to break this 140.13 level, we're looking for 138.74. That's gonna be our next level here to look for. On the upside, we're looking for 141.60 and 142. Those are gonna be pretty important levels here to watch, and of course they're gonna be news driven by Ben Bernanke's speech tomorrow in Jackson Hole. Let's go to the Qs. Here we have the NASDAQ ETF. Of course, we touched again our downside target. We've met that target, crossed it for a little while, and then just bounced back again. Today we closed at that target pretty much. 67.60 was the target, and we talked about yesterday, and we closed at 67.69. If we do break to the downside and get some confirmation, we're looking for 67. That's gonna be our downside target from here. Our upside target 68.25, and then 68.90. Those are gonna be the two targets on the upside. But still, we talked about maybe getting some lower term and breaking down because of the daily patterns we're getting. Here we go to the IWM 60-minute chart. This is the Russell 2000 ETF. Well, again, this one held up somewhat, and we only broke the pivot. We did not make it to the 79 level that we talked about yesterday. So we're still looking here for our 79.60 on the downside, and on the upside 82.24. This is gonna be a pretty important close here for the IWM. Yesterday we talked about the head and shoulders we have on the daily chart. So let's look for the 79.64 on the downside and 82.24 on the upside. Now let's go to GLD. GLD, very interesting. We continue to drop, but we had here a flat day today. Pivot on the weekly pivot is holding pretty well here. Of course, gold does not want to move before Bernanke's speech tomorrow, so tomorrow is going to be a very important day for gold. Our targets here are 164 on the upside, 158, 157 on the downside. Those are going to be pretty important targets. And if we go to the daily chart, we notice here that the 200-day moving average has been tested twice already, yesterday and today, and it has been holding steadily. We can see here, if we look at the longer term, maybe we're getting some type of a bull flag here, getting some type of pullback, and maybe finding some support at the 200-day moving average, ready to bounce higher to this 64, 65 level. That is all going to be news driven by Bernanke's speech tomorrow. So keep an eye on what he's going to say. Maybe we get some hints about QE, or if we do not, maybe we get a sell-off and break this 200-day moving average. Last chart we're gonna look, VIX. Here we have the daily chart for the VIX, 4.5% higher. Yesterday we talked about a possible breakout here on the VIX. We're starting to see some volatility coming to the market. We've talked about this bad pattern here of bottoming formation, and look at the volatility, how tight it is. I would not be surprised if tomorrow we start going higher, maybe targeting 20, and the final target in a couple of weeks, 24. Volatility coming back into the market. Remember, September we have lots of events. Mario Draghi is going out and talk, Bernanke's speech tomorrow, lots of important things gonna happen. So volatility may be starting to come back into the market. That's it here for the charts today. We have a special offer by TradeStation. Get your HAMSI Analytics proprietary indicators paid by TradeStation. Contact Active Traders office in Chicago, Peter Albino, at the number listed below. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.